So we're going to work with some example solving system of equation by substitution. So just to review, substitution means to plug in or replace on the designated variable. So here's our first example. Our first equation is x equals negative 5y plus 3. Our second equation is 3x minus 2y equals negative 8. When it comes to substitution, I see that my first equation, x equal to negative 5y plus 3, meaning that the x is by itself. So what does that mean, or how does that help us with our work? If one in your equation where the variable is by itself, that means that since this is the first equation, I'm going to plug it into the second equation. So let me show you what I mean. Since x equals to negative 5y plus 3, I am simply just going to plug it in into this x. That's all it is. So let me rewrite it, and it's going to be a long equation. So again, substitution is basically plug in or replace. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in negative 5y plus 3 into this x of the second equation, because the first equation, x equal, or I'm going to replace x from the second equation with negative 5y plus 3. So if I were to do substitution, this is how it's going to look like. So I'm substituting x with this equation, so negative 5y plus 3, and close parenthesis. I'm going to continue with the rest of the second equation, minus 2y equals negative 8. So let's review. Here's the original second equation. Here's the new equation. There's the 3. There's the minus 2y equal negative 8. The only thing different is the x replaced with negative 5y plus 3. So from there, I'm going to distribute the 3. That's going to become 3 times negative 5y, negative 15y. 3 times positive 3 plus 9. Then, since I distribute, I can let go of the parenthesis, carry the minus 2y, and equal to the negative 8. I want to combine my terms with my y's. So negative 15y minus 2y, that would become negative 17y plus 9 equal negative 8. If I am to get y by itself, I'm going to subtract by 9. So negative 17y equal to negative 8 minus 9, that's negative 17. To get y by itself, I'm dividing by negative 17 on the left and on the right. So my y will equal, so again, negative 17 divided by negative 17, I'm just left with y, equal negative 17 divided by negative 17, positive 1. So this is our first solution. And how am I going to solve for the second solution, x? So you can plug in the y value either in the first equation or in the second equation. Best advice is, if I'm solving for x, I will use the first equation because, look here, the x is by itself. So if I plug in for y, what number I get here, that's the value for x. So I'm going to use the first equation. So I'm going to write right here, x equal negative 5y plus 3. Since I know the value of y, so I'm going to replace y with positive 1. So negative 5 with positive 1 plus 3. So again, I replace y with 1. So x equal negative 5 times 1, that's negative 5. And then bring down to plus 3. Negative 5 plus 3, that's negative 2. So x equals negative 2. So here's our 2 solution. And if I were to plug it in, it would work in the first equation and the second equation. So let's double check. Now, in order for it to be a good solution, it has to work for both equations. So I'm going to test out with these two in the first equation. So I'm plugging in negative 2 into x. I'm plugging in 1 into y. So here I simplify negative 5 times 1. That's going to be negative 5 plus 3. The left side stay the same because it's a single number. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Well, that works. Now, the second equation. So, x, I'm going to plug in negative 2. Y, I'm going to plug in positive 1. So, 3 times negative 2 minus 2 times positive 1 equal to negative 8. So, 3 times negative 2, that's negative 6. Negative 2 times 1, that's negative 2, equal negative 8. Negative 6 minus 2, that's going to be negative 8, which is equal to negative 8. That's true, so it's correct. So these two solutions are correct and they work for both equations. So my solution or my final answer for this example is x equals negative 2 and y equals 1. What you can do, instead of writing it as 2, you can write it as a 1 solution as a coordinate point. Like this. So my x is negative 2, comma, my y is 1, parenthesis, parenthesis. This is also a final solution or final answer that works. In example 2, we have our first equation, 3x minus 5y equals 22. Second equation, x equals negative 4y minus 4. So, similar to the last example, we have a second equation here, whereas x by itself, that means it's equal to negative 4y minus 4. Simply, we're going to plug this equation, we're going to plug the second equation into x of the first equation. So, I repeat, we're going to plug in the second equation into the first, meaning replace x in the first equation with negative 4y minus 4. So this is what it's going to look like. Three parentheses. Now instead of x, I'm going to write negative 4y minus 4 close parenthesis minus 5y equals 22. Alright, so again, everything is the same except for my x, which is switched out with negative 4y minus 4. I'm going to distribute the 3 outside the parenthesis. So it's going to be 3 times negative 4y, negative 12y. 3 times minus 4, so negative 12. Bring down minus 5y. Bring down equal to 22. So I'm going to combine my y's like terms. So negative 12y minus 5y, that's going to become negative 17y. Bring down to minus 12. Bring down the equal to 22. Now if I want to solve and get negative 17y by itself, I need to cancel out minus 12, which is plus 12 on the left, plus 12 on the right. So it's going to be negative 17y equal 34. and in order to get y by itself, I'm going to divide the left by negative 17, the right by negative 17. So my answer for y is y equals 34 divided by negative 17. 17 is half of 34, so it's going to be negative 2. So there's our first solution. Now, we're going to solve for x. I'm going to use the second equation because x is by itself. By plugging in the y value, what number we get will automatically be the value for our x. So I'm going to write it up here. X equal negative 4y minus 4. So x will equal to negative 4 times negative 2 minus 4. So again, I switch out the y with negative 2. That's a value. So negative 4 times negative 2, that's going to be a positive 8. Bring down to minus 4. So x will equal to 8 minus 4. That's simply a positive 4. So here's our second solution. And if you were to double check, simply plug in x and y in the first equation and see if it works, and then plug in the second equation and see if it works. If it works for both, that means these two are the solution. If you want to write as one solution, write as a coordinate point like this. So x first, which is 4, comma, y second, which is negative 2. Parenthesis, and then box it up. In example 3, our first equation is x minus 3y equals negative 22. Second equation, y equals negative 2x minus 2. So it's different from the first two examples where one equation it has the y by itself. So simply mean where y equals negative 2x minus 2, we're going to plug that into the y from the first equation. So I repeat, we're going to plug in negative 2x minus 2 into the y value in the first equation because the second equation is y equal, meaning y is by itself. So doing so, our first equation will look different. So first is x minus 3, parenthesis, instead of y, it's going to be negative 2x minus 2 close parenthesis equal negative 22. So here's my x, here's my minus 3. Instead of y, it will be negative 2x minus 2 in parenthesis, and then equal negative 22. So what's next? We're going to distribute the minus 3 or negative 3. Doing so, I'm going to bring down the x. Negative 3 times negative 2x, that will be plus 6x. Negative 3 times minus 2, that will be also plus 6x, because remember, negative or minus times negative will be a positive. And then I bring down equal to negative 22. Next, I'm going to combine like terms. We got two x's here, or multiple x's. So x plus 6x, that will be 7x. Bring down the plus 6. Bring down the equal to negative 22. Alright, in order to solve for x, I need to get 7x by itself. Therefore, cancel out the plus 6, which is minus 6 on the left, then minus 6 on the right. From there, we're going to get 7x equal negative 22 minus 6. That will be negative 28. In order to get x by itself, it's 7 times x. Opposite is dividing by 7. Do it on the left, do it on the right. So from there, we're going to get x equal negative 28 divided by 7 will be negative 4. So here's our first solution. Alright, from there, I'm going to use the second equation. You can still use the first one and then try to solve for x. I'm going to use the second one because we have x, we're looking for y, and the second equation, y is by itself. When I plug in the x value, it's going to come out as a number. That's going to be automatically the value for y. So right here, I'm going to write y equal negative 2x minus 2. The value for x is negative 4. So it's going to be negative 2 times negative 4 and then minus 2. So from there, I'm going to do negative 2 times negative 4, which will be a positive 8, and then bring down to minus 2. So y equals 8 minus 2, which is a positive 6. So here's our second solution. So first one is x equals negative 4. Second one, y equals 6. Now if you want to write it as one answer, write it as a coordinate point. So x, comma, y in parentheses, coordinate point. So x is first, which is negative 4, comma, y is second, which is 6, parenthesis, and then box up your answer. There you go.